situation. There's my boyfriend's parents won't let me stay at their house anymore because my family's cultural beliefs means my boyfriend isn't allowed to stay at mine.
Wait.
That's that.
Anyways,
That's a lot, but it's like,
that's
4 heavy
there was a lot. It
paragraphs.
was a very heavy sigh for that one.
You by experience, you know
There's
that.
just so many things.
wow.
Oh,
Okay.
So many. I could talk 10 times for this, like that topic.
Because someone I collaborated before, they weren't allowed in the house at all.
Yeah. And I have all the different perspectives for that one too.
Like they're like strict, like don't bring your boyfriend here. Period.
Yeah.
No exceptions or nothing.
This is how I see it.
Like, oh shoot.
Because it's
I
like
guess we're gonna go with that one. Okay.
Because I would.
I think we could make it kind of short and sweet, sort
There's
of.
no short and sweet with that one.
Oh wow.
This is how I see it. Okay, I'll explain. Let me explain this. I'll say this. Hold on.
You know what? Let's preface and put a thing. This may be traumatic.
Oh shoot. Wow.
Yes.
May be
Yes.
trauma-inducing. This may be
I shouldn't
something.
I shouldn't burn my hands. Down.
Not for bad.
But
to those who may relate, this just tread lightly.
this is the only thing I can say. And I know it may sound crazy. I know it may sound weird. And I know some people, they might not understand it. Whatever your parents say about their house goes.
Yes.
You can't shake it. You can't shift it. You have to find your own way, your own house.
To do your
When it's their house, it's their house, their rules. I don't care how much bills you pay. I don't care how much things you had to do. I don't care what it is. What your parents say at your parents' house goes. That is your parents.
Yes.
You have no say to that. It might not be reasonable. You can discuss and maybe things will change.
Right.
But as long it's at your parents and they have a choice because it's their yard. Do you disagree? Is there something you want to say? It's a tough burn.
I agree with your statement. I will start there.
It makes a relationship tough though.
However,
Okay.
it's the lack of humanity that people then engage in upholding that statement. That's the part that I cannot deal with.
Can you explain?
Oh, baby.
Please. Please do tell. Do tell.
When?
We're gonna story time.
When I tell you.
Oh no! Oh wait.
Oh, where's the tissue box?
But essentially, it's the fact that some people's background.
paper towels.
Trust me, there's more fire than there is tears because it just makes me so angry when I meet people who have that type of perspective. And yes, like I said, I do agree with the fact that any rules that are established here with this in the family or the parents, it's their house, it's their rules. I agree, 100%. However, there's a point where people start to make their children property.
Oh.
They start to make a level of extortion. And like I said, the engagement of reducing someone's humanity, lack of courtesy or anything like that. The same way where it's like some people will not even allow your partner or your other person to come into the house or even have access to the house. It's like, how are we building family if they're not allowed and you're not actually getting to know who this person is? You're not showing or having or building any type of relationship with your child's person. You're not giving any input to the benefit or health or well-being of your child's partner. There's all these other factors where I say there's a lack of humanity put into it now because you want to protect your home.
That's fair.
The other being that some people can be in the space and will not let you use their utilities.
Whoa, geez.
I have encountered that.
So you come in and just like, don't use my washroom.
Don't use my washroom. Don't use my anything. So if you
What?
need to use the washroom, you need to leave.
No.
Yo, that's.
Okay. In regards to the first point of, like I understand what you're saying in that aspect. I believe that some parents, I would just assume, some parents believe that they're doing a service or a favor for you, because I don't know why. Some it's like, they're trying to protect you. Some it may be, if this person can get through this wall of thing, this person can get through everything. The logic is not the greatest, but like
I can see
it can hinder the relationship. And then some people will be like, well, if that person is mad and doesn't want to be in a relationship, they're probably not meant for you in the first place.
which is
I don't know. It all depends on that battle of that aspect.
go back to the whole like this. It's a weird test. Like, well, if they
No, sometimes it's a weird test.
And that's the other thing. So for me,
that's a,
that whole testing thing, it's like, oh, if you really are supposed to be here, then you'd figure it out and learn how to get it. And it's like, okay, but say they do learn how to get it. This is the other thing. This is the other thing where it's like,
Yeah, don't touch my steak though.
No. Unfortunately, sometimes, and I'm not going to say that all people, but like some scenarios where they have sheltered those who have sheltered their child to actually not be able to participate in other people's homes or be in other people's homes. When they finally get into their own home or into a space with their partner, some of them end up having to have the highest level of domestic abuse.
oh wow.
I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking about, oh, you don't even know how to wash plate? No.
That's another one.
Yeah, like it's learning different.
Yeah.
Which is fair. It's just fair.
So
fair.
the DV, it increases because
Yeah.
the parents like just
Because, okay, you don't get to actually know how this person operates in a home. So they're nice on paper because they take your child out or you take them out. But it doesn't mean that you know how they are in a household.
right.
That is tough.
Right?
I mean, yeah, that's tough.
You never seen them in that space. How do you know?
But how do you know? The thing about it, the flip side, how do you know if that parent didn't notice that already and that's why they don't want them in the house?
And that's another thing.
It's the flip, and that's the thing. Some parents, I think, some parents
could
are
say
not.
that.
I could say some parents are not the smartest people when it comes to certain things.
There's some people that are just not smart, but that's
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's
but
true.
but people.
Yeah, some people are not smart of all that, but at the same
Being
time,
able to read people, yeah.
I do think there's a way to work through that and then learn how to maneuver. It's hard because it's like, now
Actually.
you're in a situation. Next, your parent, their parent allows you to go to their house, and it's like, oh, I don't know if you talk to your parents like that, but if a parent finds out that they don't let you in their house, and say, well, we're not gonna let that person in the house.
Oh,
Those things happen.
Yeah,
And then now it becomes
like
a feud.
Like a tit.
Now it's like a Romeo Juliet type thing, like toxicity in between the parents and stuff. It's like, oh, they might not like because of your culture and this and that or whatever, and it's tough. It's tough, but the way I see it is very.
Let me speed through it just for those listening, just the context of this scenario. So once again, the title is My Boyfriend 25, M for male. Parents won't let me 23, F for female, stay at their house anymore because my fam's cultural beliefs mean my boyfriend isn't allowed to stay at mine. Cultural beliefs.
Yes. So
Yeah.
culture also includes religion sometimes.
Yeah.
So I know if you're a Christian, there's the concept that you're not to be sleeping in a person who is not considered your husband and or wife's bed. You're not to have sleepovers unless they are your wife or husband.
Right.
That is it.
Now, let me bust the rhymes through this and read through this fast. Hold on. So, for context, I've been allowed to stay at my boyfriend's house for 2 years now. In recent times, his mom has created a problem with telling my boyfriend that I'm not allowed to stay, making me feel uncomfortable and being condescending to the point where I sometimes left the house, gotten kicked out. The excuses have been that his sisters don't have their boyfriend over, and instead they stay at their boyfriend's houses. Okay, which means that since they started doing that, my boyfriend has not been allowed to let me stay over. Okay.
Oh, I see what the ploy is. Got it. Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's just different gender.
No, she wants him to get the hell out of the house.
Whoa, okay.
The sisters go to the their partner's house.
Boom, like
Because the men already have their own established being and
like
place
the
and
like
dwelling.
Okay.
like the child
So-
leaving the nest type
Right.
of thing.
Yeah.
So the fact that she is going to him and he doesn't have his own established home is contradicting.
They want him to get
They
established
want
first.
him to get established before
And
she
then-
starts entertaining anyone.
Well, at the same time,
okay.
but hold on. Let me break that
But
part
read,
down.
continue reading,
on.
continue reading. Because maybe, because they say culturally, right?
Because at the same time, you know, if you have your own house, you could do whatever you want in your own house.
Right.
I'm not gonna let some people are like I'm not gonna let you bring your gal here and do whatever you want in my house.
Right.
But
Now to pick up, his parents that know culturally as Middle Eastern girl, it has been a lot to even tell my parents that I have a boyfriend. Whoa, okay. Since that though, my parents, okay. But the parents love the boyfriend, treat him kindly, okay. He's over all the time. The only limit is my dad does not want him sleeping over, right? Same bed, in the same bed. He's allowed to sleep in another room, different mattress for cultural reasons, okay? In my culture, it's taboo to have sex out of marriage. My mom knows when I stay over at my boyfriend's house. She keeps it a secret from my dad, which is okay. But it's the only way to ensure one of them know where I
where
am.
you are, safety.
As I hate lying, okay. My mom has no problem with it, but my dad is still backwards in the sense that one, he knows my boyfriend and I have been on they've been on trips together. Two, he's not stupid enough to think all these times I've stayed over places that I would have stayed at my boyfriend's. At this point, he's not just wanting to believe that I'm in a sexual relationship, which is okay. It has taken him a lot of time, and he is so progressive compared to the other dads in our community. It's okay. So it's one thing at a time for him, which I understand. Okay, back to my boyfriend's parents. His mom seems to have a problem with me only, not treating me the same as his sister's boyfriends, even though I make effort or make an effort every time I come over. She instillly was fine with us staying at his. Then weeks would go by and I would ask my boyfriend why he hasn't asked me to stay over, and he'll say his mom cracked and told him no more for the time being. So naturally I would get upset as she's not consistent with this. My dad has been consistent from the start. She goes into last week I stayed over 2 days, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. The following day, he said they had a conversation and she told him that since you're not allowed to stay at her house, she's not allowed to stay here anymore. It has to be a blanket rule. So that's what you brought up, the tit for tat. He tried to explain that the cultural belief are the only reason why my dad won't let him, and otherwise he has a good relationship with my dad. Okay. But his mom sort of brainwashed him, and he told me that he feels that it's unfair that my dad won't let him, and he wants me to speak to my dad about it. I got very upset because he understands how far my dad has come.
So basically, the mothers are the problem.
And letting us be together, telling my family about him and being open to his daughter having a boyfriend. I'm sure gonna go. Okay, so too long to read.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to read it.
Maybe I should have read that first.
Yeah, that's why I left it alone. I was like, I didn't want to read it, but I just wanted to go into that thing.
Basically,
What's the end of it?
my boyfriend's mom won't let me stay at their house anymore because my dad won't let him.
Right.
For cultural reasons. She has always been rude or had it out for me because she doesn't treat his sister's boyfriend this way. My boyfriend is torn and agrees with her that I should ask my dad to let him stay. But I'm upset that his mom suddenly has had this shift.
Yes.
And don't believe my dad is really the problem here.
Well, both of you guys have a problem, I'll say. You both have to speak on your both parents, so you guys could both. I understand the cultural aspect. You guys both have to have a discussion. Both of you guys have a discussion.
Yeah.
It can't be just one side, and then the other side's not chatting. You both have to have a discussion, and then, but at the same times.
But we're also saying that the parents are now involved in their relationship.
Right, but at the same time, I don't think people know how to talk to their parents at the same time. You can't be like, I love him, and no, that's not gonna work.
Right.
You have to have that conversation in a way that it builds some type of trust, builds some type of accountability, because they're still going to see you as a kid regardless.
Understood.
So I think there's a way to go about it. I don't know, because depending on what culture, how you guys see fit, but there has to be a way to go about it. You can't just be like entitled to the fact that, oh, because your parents, what your parents say goes. in their own house.
So
Right.
But if the parent also has, like, the whole thing with the parent being condescending and disrespectful to the gal or does it, that your partner has to speak to their parent
And be like, yeah,
and be like, yo, you're treating the one I'm pursuing a certain way. Why is that? Why, you need to stop.
but I mean, he
Respectfully,
clearly
though.
knows
Yeah.
why.
I know, but he has to set some, like,
But he's in
and that's the
agreement.
thing. I've always heard the thing about, like
agreeing
women.
with the mother. Well,
Yes, he's agreeing to his own mother.
That's not okay if that's the issue. Because, you know, and the thing about it, I do hear, like, you know, I've heard situations where, you know, the girl will be the one that's able to fend for the relationship, but the guy doesn't really, like, fend in that sense. It could be the other way around too, but I've always heard that situation where someone's battling and the other person is not. You're just accepting the fact that this is how it is.
yeah.
At the same time, I think a discussion has to happen in order to make some adjustments or whatever. But
So we're not gonna call shots about the mother backtracking
Yeah, that's the thing. Because the mother was.
because they were doing this for 2 years.
yeah,
She didn't say anything,
And
and now she's backtracking only on the premise that he's not allowed to sleep over.
because it's kind of disrespect. I guess they see it as disrespect that, you know, we're showing this love and they're not showing love to my child.
Is it that? Would you want your
If
son
I-
to be sleeping over at your daughter's house?
At their daughter's house?
Well, at the daughter's house.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about it is, I'm not saying. hold on. Here's the thing. If there's an equal thing going on,
And I mean, she's being consistent to her own rule. The sons of her daughters, or the son-in-laws to her daughters, are not sleeping at the house. They're going to their house.
there has to
Right,
be
yeah.
there has to be
So-
some type of consistency.
She should be consistent.
There has to be some type of consistency. But obviously, there wasn't from the start. So since that happened, they're like, yo, I'm bringing my pitney over this one, and they're treating her that way. Then no, that can't go on over here.
But the father doesn't know either. So she's also deceiving.
There's a whole bunch of mix up. But at the same time, I do believe
that
there has to be a discussion on both parties. Like, there has to be discussion, and then you guys have to figure out how you guys gonna maneuver that relationship.
Right.
At the same time, I guess, yeah.
Here's my question now. Here's my real question. In this squabble, is this promoting that they actually learn to live with each other and actually eventually move out, or is it not?
It doesn't sound like, yeah, they're moving. Like, there's no talking of like, hey, we're gonna, like, yo, we're gonna like,
Help you guys to move out.
They don't
You
want
guys
to move
clearly-
out. It doesn't sound like they're ready to move out. It just sounds like they're ready to. They want the family to be a part of it, right?
Is it that they want the family to be a part of it?
I think they want the family to be okay with whatever they're
Like,
trying to
yeah.
accommodate.
yeah,
Yeah, to accommodate. I mean, one is 23 and the other one's 25.
right, yeah.
At the same time, yo, I guess,
Who
In
has a
certain
full-time
relations-
job at that time?
and in relationship, the big issue is based off so much variables. Things can change when they move in together, like we spoke about. Like, you know, you can live together. You're good at your house, but now you're living together, and you're like, man, you don't do this like you do it at the house.
Oh,
But of course, everybody acts different when it's their parents' house too.
Exactly. So
People don't act how they would
It's-
act in their own.
there's so many variables, but at the same time, I think you guys have to be respectful to your parents and have that discussion. I don't think you can try to muscle your way through. This is my person. I love him. And no, that doesn't matter. Your parents probably love you too.
It does matter. Let's not dismiss that. It does matter. Because when you have your partner, okay, look at it like this.
Cause you know what happens sometimes. You could be fighting for that partner and it doesn't work out. Your parents are gonna be looking at you like, ha! How did that go? You want to fight me over this person and how, look at you.
But why is it a fight? Why is it not a...
It shouldn't be.
And that's what I'm saying.
It shouldn't be. But
Where are the rules of encouragement? Where is this where... This is also a
there
part
is
of
rules
your
of encouragement. Sometimes, but at
growing.
the same time, you gotta keep in mind Your parents been on the world longer than you sometimes, and
This
there's
is
certain
true.
things they see that you don't see.
This is also true. But that's what I'm
It's
saying.
such a battle, but the communication between the parents has to happen. So there's some type of sense and there's some type of process of how to go about it. You know what I mean?
From the child.
From the child and the parent. They have to have some type of conversation because they don't have a conversation. It's either you deal with it or you're gonna muscle, and then it's gonna be even more worse. Next thing you know, you're kicked out of your damn house because you're trying to run your own way. There has to be a conversation, and or
throw this out there too.
you gotta prove that you are like. Sometimes as a child, you have to prove that you are responsible to your parents.
That is fair. But they also have to ask for that level and that criteria too.
Of course, but that's where communication comes to play.
Cause I don't
That's
say
natural.
like at this
And
point,
your actions, yeah.
they should like just rent out. They should do like an experiment where they just
Rent out a place together.
yeah and see how it goes. Cause
But that's where the cultural issue.
The culture would be like, no, you can't
because
do
you
that.
can't do that. That person is not your other half. You are not wedded to them. And that's where the biggest part of this whole controversy really
oh,
starts.
I was gonna say. I mean, one
In
of them has
general?
to one of them has to move out and
But even then, so
and then just like
it's still-
sneak the other person.
still a controversy because of that. They're not married. That is the biggest part of
Yeah.
it. And I know it like the back of my hand. This is where I say it. I know it like the back of my hand.
'Cause I know some women have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Like, deal with the.
I've definitely
And
have
just
been
like,
one of
hey,
those
man,
people.
hey,
We're just like, yo, you guys not
not
married.
that bad for
Yeah.
me, type thing.
Guys are not married. You should not be here.
I'm just saying. There's certain things that I don't have to deal with. It's like you know, just like women have privileges,
Even-
men have privileges too.
Even this, here's this, where say you're young, and this is why I say the humanity part of it, right? Me, I grew up with my mom looking at it like you're a person. If say your needs or whatever, say you get drunk, right? The last thing I'm gonna do is kick you out of my house because I don't want you as a male person in my home, just cause you're not married to my daughter. So now you have to stagger and stumble outside, intoxicated, and let it be.
Right.
Sometimes I don't know how and I've grown up knowing this as my like way of living, right? I can't, from that, like the way that my mother has raised me, I cannot look at people without that eye where it's like, you are now responsible for somebody. And then on top of it, I have bartending as a skill.
Where you are.
You are liable if this person walks out from you serving them under the influence or over their limit. And you now, even if they get into a car accident, you are responsible. So knowing that, the way my mother raised me, knowing the liability that certain situations can happen, even if you are not the person directly affected, you can be a cause and the catalyst to that escalation.
Right.
And seeing how those liabilities roll out, I'm like, honestly,
Nah.
I would rather not.
Yeah.
Personally. So to see somebody like be kicked out on the curb because, well, you're not married to my person. You're not married to my child, and therefore, sorry, you gotta go.
Which is
That's the thing.
That's wild to me.
that's
It is, but it's just, I don't know, culture, parent, like when you put culture and traditions and stuff like that, it's a very, because
That's why I
you
say
could be raised differently, they could be raised differently, and then it becomes, I guess.
But why should the other person get the scolding instead of your child? That's the part where I
That's
say
that's the
you should
biggest.
hold the head over and the responsibility on your child because they're not uplifting and keeping to your standards. Don't put it on the other person because
You
your
never
child
know,
never
because
did it.
next thing you know, you find out that it's not even his standards he's worried about. It's the girls or the guys. It's the other partner. It's stupid, but it's such. That's why I'm saying it's like there has to
But you
be
wouldn't
a
get into those
communication
situations.
because, yeah, I know.
But that's what I mean by holding the standard. You would not get into that situation if this child is holding the standard. Prime example, if you guys are going to go out and you get intoxicated, your kid would be responsible because they know you can't crash at my place. So I'm not going to get too wasted. I'm not going to get too drunk. I'm not going to get all these things. My house is not a limit. Like, it's not an offered thing. It's not an offered space. So
Right.
they would know not to actually offer it. They would know not to do things, behave in ways where it can be a suggested question all of that. That's upholding what your parents have doctrined you with, right? But if you're not capable of doing that, why should the other person get blamed?
Which doesn't. People, I guess, it's the halo effect with their child. It's just like, some people think like, oh, my child can't do no wrong.
Yeah.
My child's not trying to give me the runaround, get a one up on me.
It's
nah,
not
you're corrupting my child.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, it's
you.
one
there's
PM.
that too, but at the same
Drive.
time,
Your
at the
child
same
should be
time,
driving.
there's a lot of things. There's a lot of reasons why, and I think that's where the
fine.
communication lies with the parents. Some parents don't feel like they need to, like, I don't know. Some parents don't feel like you need to talk to them about that. That's just how they way, and then you just have to learn to maneuver all that, which is tough. Cause like, it's tough, but I don't know. I think
They're gonna have to sit down with.
they're gonna have to have a conversation, not with like the partner around, like you and your parent, like be like, yo, because it sounds like it's the same thing on both sides. And the problem is, what would be even more of an issue is if you both are on the same side trying to fight for this relationship to work. I feel like relationship will work.
Right.
But if one person fight and they get through, and the other person decides not to,
They'll
but
always
he
have
wants to
conflict.
come in and be
Yeah.
like, yo, and that happens a lot of time. That's not okay.
They'll always have conflict. Yeah.
The way I see it, they have to bring their 100, and the other person has to bring their 100, and then put it together.
But the other part too is that I would hate if they get into a space where they now come together, but it's only on the stance of no one, like, just on the stance of like no opposition, not even a working
But
it out.
I feel like that's, if there was no opposition, now they got, now it's like
Sorry,
opposition.
all opposition, no working it out.
So, yeah, so opposition on both sides, they say they're going to do it together. And then now they're in this thing
Situation.
together. I think, like you said, you'll learn more about that individual now that there's no two opposition.
But
As
why
sucks
would-
as it happens,
yeah, like why
it
would I want
sucks.
that?
But I think
See, and then
that's
people
all
wonder
we're-
why they don't get to talk to their kids after how many
right,
years.
and that's the thing with That's the thing with relationships and choosing the right ones. You gotta. It's tough. That's how it all starts, right?
Yeah, man.
That's
See?
the battle of it all. So
It's one of those ones where people are thinking it through, yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just, you force this person out, and then it's like, they decide to band together, and then they band together and do it, and then it's like, then you don't see your own kid. You lose having that relationship, or you risk reducing your relationship because of the situation, right? You also, what else? I'm just trying to think of
it's
like,
all these stipulations.
yeah, like there's so many things, or like just the fact that the relationship now doesn't go the way. Are these parents going to take these kids back? Are they going to do that?
Right.
Well,
That's the.
I'm gonna wish those people. I'm gonna wish those people the best, because I don't know how you go about that.
Besides, like, well, the first step, yeah, I think everyone should at least sit and have a discussion. And be like, are you guys serious with this relationship? You are? Well, this is what I need you guys to do.
Right.
I think,
And then go from there, yeah.
for me, I think there's this side and that side. That side needs to sort that out. That side needs to sort that out, and then somehow make it work. It's tough.
Good luck to you, man.
Good luck to yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, if it doesn't work out, I could definitely see in the near future, miss, recognize that your partner may always agree with their mother and will not defend you.
Oh, that's all.
And I say may always.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z, we'll discuss that, because that's something in itself. that's part one.
Let's just
to
take
the
that
situation.
in. Yep.
You might need another what would you, female representative
A
to help you,
yeah.
the 2R2 or something, or something that you can discuss that, because I always heard that whole debate, and
Mama's boys.
I stay out of that.
That would be
stay out
an
of
example of it.
Oh,
That's but yo,
plugs. We got to plug, because that's a whole nother hour.